it looks straighter than it did before. Guess you just have to tilt your head.
That's good over there.
No, it looks better than it did. All right, by the clock, it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday, February 13. I hereby call the Raymore Arts Commission meeting to order for tonight. Mike, if you could do the roll call, please.
Commissioner Barry.
Present.
Commissioner Paris.
Here.
Commissioner Setzer.
Here.
Commissioner Ditchin.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Okay, so that constitutes a quorum, and if we could please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I don't believe we have any, oh, here she is. I don't believe we have any public comments tonight. Is that correct, Mike and Melissa?
That is correct.
Okay. And no presentations?
Nothing tonight.
Okay, great. With that, we'll go right into the staff reports.
Thank you. Tonight I wanted to just provide a quick update on the FY18 budget. The budget that you have in your packet shows a pretty true reflection of all the expenses that we have undertaken. The only items that are not fully included in here are an update on the Memorial Park mural. After tonight's meeting, we'll be meeting with Jacob, who is here tonight, to talk about the new design. And as if you remember, that was part of the contract, was once the design was accepted, we would have that additional portion of the contract would be paid out. And so that's the only item that's really not reflected in here that'll be changing within the next couple of weeks. Other than that, every line item in here, as you'll see, had the family art days, or most recent family art days is included in here, and we see the supplies reflected, as well as the cost of some of the planning that has been going on for Summer Scene that Ms. McGee will be talking about during her report. Any questions on the budget?
Any questions? Thank you. Melissa, you're going to do the Summer Scene update?
Yep, sure. So I just wanted to kind of break down what we've been planning and what's been purchased and what's set up. So of our $5,000 budget for Summer Scene that will be on June 9th at TB Hanna Station, $1,600 has been spent, and that has secured our tables, tents, and chairs for the event, including setup and tear down costs, deposit on a mist tent, our promotional materials, which you have the Summer Scene koozies in front of you. We have 350 of those, and we'll begin distributing those at the Raymore Easter Festival, and then any other events prior to Summer Scene where we can, just to keep promoting the event, as well as at the event. We have paid for a Stoneline Puppet Theater show that will kind of open up Summer Scene. It'll be the first event on our live entertainment, and that is going to be about a 45-minute show geared toward preschoolers to up to 4th graders, and it's very interactive. It's called Who's in Rabbit's House, and it's an African folk tale. And then also, I've already purchased chalk, and I do have your buckets of chalk there in the stairwell. And so that's $1,600 that has already absolutely been spent. I have another $650 estimated on things we absolutely have to have, like the porta potties, our musical entertainment, which is we'll have the Jack Snaps Family Band. It's another very kid-friendly, interactive band playing for about a 45-minute set. And then our headliner, which is Blown Cover, which is a local Raymore band. They'll play cover songs anywhere, R&B, country, rock. They kind of do it all. And then we will hear from the KC Symphony next month for sure, whether or not they will be able to attend with their petting zoo again for children, and I do hope that they will be able to. And we'll also have recycling stations for cans and plastic bottles. So we'll have a little bit of an expense in renting those stations. And I do estimate supplies needed for our community art project and then our Relax and Raymore awards. And that leaves the remaining $1,750 that will need to be spent on marketing, yard signs, banners, sandwich board signs, possible instructor fees, bottled water if we're gonna sell it, repainting of the chalkboards if we need to, and other small supplies and expenses. So that's where we are with the money. Everything's kind of already set out and planned. And we'll have plenty of money to do whatever we need to do. And then I've confirmed our food vendors, which will be Shivers Ice House. We had them last year. They're the shaved ice and the pineapple whips, which were so very popular. And Between Two Buns by the Carlsons, they just changed their name. They used to be called, I think, Carlson's Sandwich or Wraps and Burgers. But they've been at a couple Parks events, and they're very popular, and their food is really good. It's burgers, sweet slaw tacos, and fries. And then Bop and Bowl will be making their debut in Raymore.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They're called Bop and Bowl, and they're a Korean fusion food truck, and everything looks really yummy, and all of their reviews are excellent. So I'm really excited to have them. And then we just put out another call for artists. We still need to recruit more artists, and hopefully you guys can help me with that with all of your connections. Just be sure to share our event and all of our information. And then we already have, on February 7th, last week, I posted a separate event for our Relax and Raymore on Facebook, and we already have about 90-something people interested. We got 2 registrations in on that day. So we definitely have 2 people doing chairs. And that was just from the first day.
That's great.
Did you say 90?
90 people interested in the event. But the event has been shared, and so, or several times. So there's already, I know it's a ways off, but there's already interest in that for sure. So that's a really good sign. And I think that is about all I have right now.
Okay, I know you have a meeting tomorrow afternoon, but are there any questions for Melissa from any of the commissioners at this point? Harriet?
So do we have any special deals on chairs this year? I mean, have we connected with like Home Depot this time, or?
One of our items on the agenda tonight is going to be looking at allocating some money towards the Relax and Raymore program. The plan is that we're actually going to be purchasing chairs and giving those out to either folks who apply early or specific groups so that they either wouldn't need to purchase a wooden chair. Lowe's has also tentatively agreed, and we haven't put anything down on paper yet, to offer a discount to anyone that goes into the store to purchase a wooden Adirondack chair.
So they have Lowe's has wooden chairs that they'll have in stock?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Melissa. That concludes the committee updates. At this point, we have one consent item, and that's the minutes from the January meeting. May I have a motion to approve those minutes? I apologize. I got thrown off here. You're right. Those are staff reports. Committee updates. Okay. I guess we'll go on to the Public Art Committee update. And Mike, are you going to give that?
So the only update really from the Public Art Committee is that we had to postpone our Public Art Committee meeting. And we'll be holding that at the conclusion of tonight's meeting. And we'll have a more thorough update after that.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll just quickly mention the Education Event Working Group. The 3 of us were there on Saturday for our February Family Art Day, and thanks to Melissa for the cute little Facebook picture, and she put that out there, and we had a nice group despite the cold and the kind of icy condition. I think we had maybe 11 kids, but it was fun. I mean, everybody had a good time. Mike was there with his little girl, so we'll be looking forward to other events. I've been brainstorming, trying to come up with some different ideas for the next meeting or the next event. And one of them actually was maybe buying some more of those little mini Adirondack chairs and using that as a family art day event and getting people to paint those little chairs and just as a kickoff to, the summer scene. So maybe, Mike, you can tell me about how much they cost, but that was one idea I had. I thought about some kind of little mini terrarium, putting together like a mason jar terrarium for springtime, celebrating Earth Day. So there's lots of ideas out there. Not my original ideas, I must admit. They're Pinterest, but I'm sure we can fill the calendar with some other events. So big thank you to both Becky and Lauren for being there to help. Lauren's, lifting those chairs, and his 3 little boys are helping, so thank you very much. So we'll look forward to having another one. I think our next one we're shooting for is in April at this point. Unless Becky or Lauren, do you have any comments for that? Okay. All right. Well, now we can move on to the consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from the January meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
Okay. Are there any corrections, additions, or comments on the minutes? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your hand. Okay, that motion carries a unanimous vote on the approval of the minutes. All right, at this point, we'll talk about our old business, and that was we talked about having another paint and sip event, and Mike, if you just want to briefly talk, both Mike and I met with the Gina Bernstein, who is putting together a new studio in Raymore. But Mike, if you just want to kind of go through what we need to look at tonight to approve.
Absolutely. So tonight, what's before the commission is the approval of allocating the money for the paint and sip event, and also approving a date that we had tentatively set. In speaking with Gina, I got a sense that her schedule was busy, and so we wanted to set a date that was going to have, that she was going to be free, and 2, that we were able to have Centerview open for the event, and we came up with Thursday, March 22nd as a possible date. And so what you have before you is the approval of that date, as well as setting aside out of the commission's budget $900 for the event. The invoice that you have in your packet is an invoice that she had put together, and that was going to cover the cost of the class as well as supplies for 30 people. She didn't want to go really beyond 30 people, but that's what that final cost was. The reason we are only allocating $900 is because we will still collect the $15 fee from folks that sign up. There was 15 and then 25 for 2 if they sign up as a couple. And so we will more than cover the rest of that cost, plus any other supplies or food items that we might want for that evening. This is after the commission had allocated about $1,200 or $1,500 for adult programming and classes, and so this will leave us plenty of money in the budget for if we wanted to do another event later in the year or during the summer, geared specifically towards adults.
Right, and I will just add that I did go to her studio. She has run behind a little bit in her plans to open her studio, but she's very enthused about teaching this class, getting to know the area better. I think her idea, and I kind of thought it was a good idea, is to do some kind of an abstract painting versus a landscape, which typically is what people do, but she will be submitting that idea or that finished abstract painting, but I saw kind of the start of it, and it looks, again, I think it's a great idea to start off with an idea, but, because it's abstract, it'll give people the opportunity to kind of go off on their own and do whatever they want, but use her, her piece as kind of a starting point for that. So I think tonight, we need to approve this budget of $900, and again, that will help offset part of the teaching fee, the cost of the police and any snacks or paper goods or whatever else we might need for that night. Bob?
Just double checking, Mike, you said, when is this going to happen again? Or the
It'll be,
proposed date?
Thursday, March 22nd
May 22nd, okay. And where's it going to happen?
at Centerview.
All right, is this going to be an outdoor event?
This will be indoor. We didn't want to chance the weather in March, and so we went ahead and just reserved. We will have the patio, but we went ahead and reserved Harrelson B, which is the side with the kitchen and
Okay.
view of the patio.
I was, well, having done the last one, I know we had a little problem with the lights on one side, so I wanted to bring that up if we were going to be out there at the same spot again.
Yeah, I would rather doubt it in March. I mean, we could have a foot of
Feel a
snow on the
little chilly.
ground.
Cold, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Before I entertain a motion, I guess, well, I should entertain a motion to approve this budget, and then we can go through any more questions that we might have. May I have a motion to approve the $900 budget for this paint and sip event, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion or questions for any of us regarding the event? Harriet? Oh, I'm sorry. Pat?
What's the time frame?
I believe we're going to do it 7 to 9. She'll come and set up around 6. She's going to bring, I think, a relative to help her run the class, do the supplies, but it runs 7 to 9,
Right.
right? Okay. Any other questions, Harriet?
Yeah, a couple things. One is, what happened to the idea of the dog thing that, Melissa, is that still a possibility?
We are actually holding another one of those for the animal shelter. It's very easy for us to do it in Lee Summit at that gallery because they created the program. They have everything there. Definitely open to something like that on maybe a bigger scale at some point. But right now it's easy, fast money for the shelter if we just go straight through them and do it that way.
Okay.
So, but I mean, we could always have
And are we promoting that?
We are
way more?
we are not promoting it. We're promoting it through the shelter.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So it's
You'll let us know that.
Absolutely, I
Yeah,
will.
Okay.
So and the animal shelter, I forget, is that under, what department is that under?
Police Department.
Oh, it is, okay. So it's really their program or event, but something that we could possibly do in the future through the Arts Commission.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, my other comment is, it's just, it's a lot of money for 30 people, is all I'm saying. And I know, like, the kids thing, you only had 11 people show up, but I think there's a lot, I mean, there are a lot more possibilities for kids and intergenerational stuff. I mean, I'm not opposed to this, and I know this is a lot of fun, but it's going to take 2/3 of the money that we are going to appropriate for this kind of programming for the year. It just seems a lot for that, for 30 people.
Well, if you look at the average cost of a paint and sip class is $30 a person. And we have we've given a discount to our residents at this point in time. I think if we have another instance of a waiting list like we did last time, that maybe next time we just up the price and self-sustain the program from fees that we collect from residents. I mean, that would be the goal, is that the residents pay full fare and that covers the teaching fee. But I think, at least for this other time, we need to get started and just see how it goes. And, but I agree, it's a work in progress.
Well, I mean, I know the Parks and Rec programs are pretty much self-sustaining from the fees that they collect from the kids and families and that kind of thing.
Well,
But just saying, that's all.
oh, I appreciate your comments. Does anybody else have any input on that? Any feedback? No? Well, we'll take that into consideration, but I'd like to at least do one more event and see what the turnout is before we decide how to price it out, if we do that next time.
I do have one comment. I know it is, completely understand your point. It is a lot of money that we're allocating for one event. But the last one we did, I feel like, setting aside Summer Scene, it was the biggest event that we've done. It generated the most talk on Facebook that we've done. And I feel like as a new commission, our goal needs to be getting our name out there. And when we do events like this, where it is so popular and we do have that waiting list, it generates people talking about us, which is going to then generate more talk about more events that we have. So I feel like the more high-profile events we do like this, the more people in Raymore, I mean, there are probably the majority of citizens who don't even know we have an arts commission. So doing events like this gets us out there. It gets our name out there. It lets the citizens of Raymore know, hey, there is a committee that is designed to try to make this, more enriching environment for us. So I feel like the more events we do in this, Summer Scene obviously is tremendous in getting our word out there, but I feel like even with the cost, I think the benefits are going to be worth it.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Bob?
Just jumping off of that, I think, we could try to treat this more like a pilot program, and this is the second one. And whether we have just 2 or 3 during the year, we can tweak it to where it costs less and comes less out of our budget and is more self-sustaining, which is what eventually is what we want.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions or comments, we need to vote on approval of this. All those in favor of approving the $900 budget for our spring paint and sip party, please raise your hand. Okay, that's 4. That's 4 voting for and 2 abstaining, so that motion does carry. Thank you. All right. The next piece of business that we need to vote on is the pop-up art project. And Mike, again, if you could run through the parameters of that.
So for this item, staff is requesting approval of $2,000 for the pop-up art project. In previous years, we had used these funds strictly for marketing and promoting of the pop-up art project. And while we feel like we've got a good handle on some of the promotion and can use materials that we've used in the past, we'd like to use some of the money for the pop-up art project to actually purchase wooden Adirondack chairs from Lowe's. And we have received an agreement from Lowe's. Typically, these sell for about $65, $75. They're willing to sell us Adirondack chairs if we purchase them in bulk for $50. And so even if we spent only half of this money for the support of the pop-up art project, we'd be able to get a good number of Adirondack chairs that we could hand out to specific groups, to individuals that we would like to encourage to come back, such as winners from previous years, that we want really to encourage them to re-engage with the project. The remaining amount of the $2,000, we're expecting to spend really just $1,000 on the purchase of Adirondack chairs. The remaining amount would be used for purchasing ads, for online advertisements to encourage people to sign up, as well as paint and supplies for the big chair itself. And so this would go really a long way in helping us bring that chair. When we bring it out of storage, it's always good to get it cleaned, repaint it, and kind of either put a new design on it or decide what we want to do with it. So that is what the rest of that budget would be allocated for.
And prize money, or coupons or whatever we did. I think we did gift cards last year, so that would be also included in that budget.
Absolutely.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
So we would buy 20 chairs? Is that essentially what you said?
20 Adirondack chairs that we would want to identify individuals or groups. Specifically, I know like some of the schools said that they were interested in being involved, and if we could get them a chair early and if we could get it to them before school's out, we'd be able to hold on to it, and then the school would be able to have something to enter at the contest in June.
It could be any group. I mean, the folks at Foxwood Springs did their own chairs, but if there's a group that would like to get a chair from Foxwood Springs or Carnegie or Benton House, or even Lowe's, if the staff wanted to do one or the commission wanted to do one, although we're doing the big chair, so. Bob?
Are these going to be given away, or are we just selling them at a lower price for some, or, you know, for the first 5, they're given away to the finalist of last year if they want to do it again? And, or is there a structure built yet for that?
We have not. What I would like to do is get the Public Art Committee to either develop some of those parameters, or if it came down to we just wanted to give it away to the first 20 who signed up or were interested, we could do that as well. Really, it's kind of up to the Public Art Committee, since this is really their project, to decide how we wanted to do that.
Becky?
How many chairs total? I can't remember how many chairs we had last year. How many entries?
About 30.
30, there were 30 entries?
Was it that many?
Well, there weren't that many at the park.
No.
Yeah, well, but some people didn't show up. But we have.
But I think there were about
and-
8 or 10 that were actually
Right, that-
at,
yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
at Summer
How
Scene,
many
right?
actually participated
Right,
in the
right.
event?
I'm thinking of the previous year.
Right.
Right.
Well, we want to get
We
those
did
numbers
have
back up.
30 some, yeah.
First year, we had about 30. The second
Right.
year, we had about
Sorry.
a dozen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, sorry.
No, and I think by offering this incentive, but it sounds like we've had some interest already just from the Facebook page, so hopefully we'll get that number back up to around 30 again. So, are there any other questions before we vote on this budget?
But the 30 were, the 3 interests were not because they knew they were going to get a free chair, correct? I mean, they were just interested.
Right.
Okay. Because again, this is like $1,000, well, I don't know what's wrong with me tonight, but I'm feeling oppositional, I guess. But I mean, I think we ought to really be strategic about how we decide to do that, whether we give them away or sell them at a reduced price or something. I mean, I don't know.
Well, no, I agree. Yeah, and I like the idea because we have less plastic chairs out there. And
Yeah.
the plastic chairs were gorgeous. Some of them were fantastic, but they did get blown away or blown around too. For both those years were pretty windy. So it's going to be nice to see some big, solid, and fully covered wooden Adirondack chairs out there. And if we have to, again, help prod them along. Yeah, I don't want to go overboard with that either. Yeah. But
Well, I think if we can get a nicer quality chair and encourage people to let us exhibit them in like Centerview in the lobby or auction them off, maybe we can recoup some of that money. I agree. I mean, we do need to be considerate of the types of projects we use with the money, but also we don't want to end up the year with money left in the budget that we haven't spent. And I'd rather, you know, as we try to grow our recognition of the Arts Commission and our work, I'd rather put a little more money up front than leave it on the table. So, are there any other questions?
Just another comment, I'm sorry. But for their $65 wooden chair, don't think it's going to be really rock solid. I mean, it's lightweight, not balsa wood, but I mean, I've checked all these chairs out, and what you're going to get for that is not hardwood. But there are others available, and like Home Depot has some. But I think the main thing is figuring out how we're going to distribute those, and then making sure that Lowe's has more that people can buy too. I don't know. We'll talk, right?
Okay, I think if the Public Art Committee wants to put some more thought into the parameters of the chair giveaway, that would be great. And if we need to come back to the commission next meeting to have a different kind of discussion about it, I think that would be appropriate. But all right, if there's no more questions at this time, we should go ahead and vote on that budget, just so that we can, you know, purchase the chairs. Do we have a motion to approve? Oh,
I'm sorry, that was the impression I was getting.
oh, are we tabling this? Do we need to?
Discuss it next month.
Well, if everybody feels that we should table this, Mike, is there any concern about timing?
You certainly you're right if you wanted to table it for next month.
Well, I'm trying to think, but Lowe's already has agreed that they will have these chairs available for us. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it would just be a matter of a phone call, okay, we're going to buy the chairs, and,
And most likely, we would not be buying them from in-store, we would not be purchasing them from Lowe's in-store. We
right.
would be
They
purchasing
would
them.
special order, right. And then, let's see, that next month is March, April, May. Yeah, that's, I mean, we definitely have to vote on it next month because, you know, June is going to be here before we know it. So, and the Easter event is March 31st, right? So we can still advertise at that point in time. Well, I guess, can I see a show of hands, how many would like to table this till next month?
Well, let's see. Ideally, what you would do is take a motion
Oh,
to
okay.
either table or approve.
Okay,
And so, from the floor.
okay.
I have a quick question. If we table it and wait until next month to make the decision, what is the lead time on the chairs? Do we know?
That we don't, I don't have that readily available.
Okay.
That, yeah, that would be a problem if we couldn't get that order in time. So, all right, may I have a motion?
Could we think about it this way? Could we empower the Public Art Committee? I mean, we've got $2,000 in the budget, correct? So this, what we're trying to decide tonight is how to spend that specifically?
Tonight, this was part of the commission's work plan and budget, original budget. What we're doing tonight is just formalizing the allocation of the $2,000 to the Relax and Raymore program. Part of that was an explanation of, instead of using the full $2,000 on just marketing, what we would like to do is purchase Adirondack chairs as part of that program and as part of that allocation of $2,000.
All right, so what I'd like to do tonight is approve a $2,000 budget and then have the Public Arts Committee determine if there's a cap on the expenditure for the chairs, or if we don't use the full 2,000, that's fine too, but let's, you know, we need to vote on the 2,000 so that we can come up with a decision fairly quickly if we're going to use some for the chair purchase and get those chairs purchased. So therefore, may I have a motion to approve a $2,000 budget for the pop-up art project?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Okay, all of those in favor of approving the $2,000 budget for the pop-up art project, please raise your hands. Okay, that's 4 approving and 2 abstaining, so that motion does carry. All right. The next item up for approval is the Raymore Easter Festival. And Mike, if you just want to quickly review this.
This is just a quick, really, not necessarily an approval. I think the motion to approve was kind of misplaced. Just as a reminder that on March 31st, we'll be attending the Raymore Easter Festival to promote the pop-up art project, as well as to promote Summer Scene and any of the other programming going on throughout the spring and summer from the Arts Commission. We already have giveaway items in that we found we have in our storage area, we have plenty of sunglasses to give away to kids.
They never go
We
away.
also have the koozies from Summer Scene that we'd like to give away to adults, plus any other items that we may need. Really, there is no new cost to this event. Any printing that we do would be minimal, and so we'd be able to cover that within the communications budget. But really, just to serve as a reminder and to ensure that there's still interest, that we're attending that event and that the Arts Commission is represented there.
All right, well, so what we're really voting on is just to make sure that we're all in support of being at the festival that day to help promote Summer Scene, the pop-up project. Okay, all those in favor of supporting that event, please raise your hand. Oops, I didn't get a motion. Well, we all agree, we're all in agreement that we're going to support that. So yes, I would like to see as many of us out there. Last year was a gorgeous day. Other than the wind, that was brutal. Okay. If there are no further reports from the staff or questions or comments from the commission, well, are there any items for discussion from any of the commissioners? Okay, the only thing I would mention is that the MACA conference, annual conference, is being held March 25th and 26th, or 26th and 27th?
26th and 27th.
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday.
And I believe, Melissa, you're going as a representative from the communications department, so that would be covered under her budget. But I would ask if there are any of the commissioners who would be willing to attend that conference, annual conference.
What was the day again?
It's a Monday and Tuesday, is it not?
Yes, it's the 26th and 27th of March. It's Monday,
Okay.
Tuesday, I believe.
And it is a day-long, it's 2 days long. And I know a couple of us have gone in the past. It's in Columbia at the same hotel. I think it's probably the same hotel. And I mean, I think I'd really like to see at least one or two of us go. But, you know, I know you all have busy schedules. So if there's anybody who has an interest in going, please let Mike know so that we do have it in our budget to cover something of this. Well, we could probably do 2, right?
We'd be able to send 2 commission members.
Okay. So if you would like to attend, please let Mike know as soon as possible, because the registration has to be done fairly quickly, I believe. Okay. Are there any other comments, questions? Okay, may I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say that I know the conversation has been a little spirited tonight, but that's what we need. You know, as we continue to grow and evolve as a commission, I think it's important for us to talk through these different topics, especially when it concerns spending money and understanding how the money's going to be spent. I would encourage you guys to really tap into our group emails and begin to open up dialogue for different ideas that you guys may have, because I think I mean, we definitely want to include everybody in our thoughts and things of that nature in the events that we plan. So, I mean, definitely get involved in those conversations and kind of understand what we're talking about, what's going on, kind of what we're thinking and planning, so that we don't leave anything out.
Thank you for that comment. That was very helpful.
As soon as I get competent on our email, I will join in the conversation. Sometimes I can get there and sometimes I can't.
Is anybody else having any issues? I mean, do people read the emails from time to time on? I know it's a separate email from your personal email. I like it because I'm on Gmail for both, so I just have both windows open at the same time, so it's easy for me. But
Yeah,
I would appreciate it if you all could do
I
that.
have to be better about replying, because when I did see your alert for tomorrow afternoons, and I thought, oh, excellent, put it on my calendar, I was done. No, I wasn't done. I should have replied and said,
Yeah.
hey, I'll be there.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning our meeting, please raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.